Guys, well, today we have a pretty sweet car. It's pretty rare and you don't see very many of them around, so I got an opportunity to do a review on it. I can't say no. Right now we are sitting inside of a Volvo V70R Wagon. A wagon. I mean, this thing is incredibly cool. So, you know, some kind of basic specs here. This is the manual one with the moonball shifter, as people like to call it. The 5-cylinder turbocharged engine. It makes 300 horsepower if you Google it. Who knows if it actually makes that much anymore, because this one has almost 123,000 miles on it, but it gets up and goes and it feels pretty good. It's super fun to drive, and it just, for its time, felt so incredibly advanced. I mean, it has active suspension, heated seats, memory seats. Let's hop on the outside and take a little look of it. It's a pretty good looking car too for being a Volvo. I mean, it's kind of a brick, but it really isn't that bad. The fan's a little loud, but I mean, that's kind of to be expected with something like this. I mean, it's just so incredibly cool. And the R spec, it has the R wheels, the big old brakes in the back. I mean, look at, that's a solid setup. This one could probably use new rotors at some point, but, and this one's in good shape. It doesn't have a whole lot of body rust on the outside. I got to put it up on a lift at one point. It was pretty clean, so it's definitely well kept and taken care of. But now let's get to the most important part, driving this thing. I'm not going to go into passenger accommodations in the trunk. I mean, it's a wagon. This thing has so much space for literally anything that you would ever want to do to it. You could easily fit a whole family in here and just do a super solid road trip. So let's get this going. The clutches, it takes a little bit of practice to get used to, but it's not bad at all by any means. Once you get used to it, I mean, this thing is solid. Now this car, because it is so flippin' old at this point, it does have some little rattles and squeaks on the back, so hopefully that doesn't destroy the audio on this, because it can be a little loud. Yeah, that's squeaking real bad. That's alright. We'll see what we can do. It feels so good to drive. I mean, shifting it's very impressive. For years and years, I watched videos of these cars, got information on them, but I could never find any. They didn't exist. And when you do find them, they're super expensive, because this is just such a different form of fun. I mean, you are in a grandma looking car with a 6-speed manual that makes a ton of power for being a wagon. We'll do a little poll getting on the interstate and see how it feels. I mean, like, come on. It's a wagon. My grandma would drive something like this. Yeah, it has so much power. I mean, the turbo, it hits, and then you just keep going, and keep going, and keep going. It's ridiculous. What we'll do here is we'll pop it in sport mode real quick. We got a little bit of a fun corner coming up, so we'll just kind of hit it more aggressively. Drop it couple gears. It isn't the easiest car to rev match, but I mean, once you get used to it, you'll be okay. Past a little Ford over here. But I mean, we're doing a decent speed right now. Don't need to go too fast. And it just hugs the road. It is insane. I mean, I could be pushing this car way, way harder right now. And that's just in 4th gear. I mean, I have noticed this thing has such long gears. It blows me away. I mean, 2nd can get you to just above 60. Uh-oh. Ambulance. That's not good. It's just fun to drive something like this because not a whole lot of people have heard of these or even know what they are. So, you know, you take this thing, do some extra events with other cars that like to totally go the speed limit all of the time. They're gonna be shocked. You know, little dude in his Miata that's supercharged that thinks it's the fastest thing ever is gonna stand no chance against this Volvo. Now, I've noticed on the interstate you can get just under 30 miles per gallon if you're really trying to baby this thing. But it's so hard to want to do that. I mean, it's just like, you just want to get in it and go. The exhaust note too. I mean, this car is completely stock and just, it sounds so good. I mean, it's a 5-cylinder, you know? It kind of sounds like a Viper to me. It reminds me of that. Which, yes, I know, it's not a Viper, it's not a V10, but it just reminds me of it. If this was my personal car, it would be getting a louder exhaust right away, and it would just wake this thing up and really, really shock people. It's definitely a sleeper. There's no getting by that. It does kind of have some nice little turbo flutter for being stock. It's enjoyable. Not crazy loud, but you put an intake on this thing and it'll wake it right up. The transmission just feels good. I am shocked by that. These Moonball, Spaceball, whatever you want to call it, has a few different names. It's just cool. I mean, it's very, very unique. There's a new Boost Blue Civic. That's a cool color. You do have to put a bit of money into the maintenance, though. That is normal. That's how every car works. People, oh look, another Volvo. Gang, gang. Not really. It's a very different beast right there. I'm just sad I even said that. I just disappointed myself. Nice little downshift, coming up on a roundabout. Oh, little Lincoln's gonna go 2 miles an hour. Okay, well, you just ruined my entire roundabout experience. It is just fun. And it's all because you would not expect a car that looks like this to put out the performance that it does. You just wouldn't. I do enjoy the little details though, of like the blue instrument panel gauges. I mean, that's a fun little look. And the tan and black interior with some blue stitching in a couple places in the handle, up on here. It just kind of brings it all together. This is a pretty good color combo on this. We'll just do another little baby pull. I'm just not even getting into it all the way either. I mean, This is like half to 3/4 throttle, just not going crazy, and it's still a ton of fun. Come in a little hot, a little brake, even it out. Come out of the corner, there we go. Just kind of come in, there we go, a little bit more. The AC is nice on this one too. I just had a new compressor put in it, so it's real solid. It has plenty of just like space too, you know. Cup holders that are pretty solid. They're pretty deep. I mean, I'm getting my hand down in there and it's working just fine. Nice little center console. Can't put a whole lot in there. Glove box is solid. There's just good space. I got a lifted truck next to me. Oh boy. Ooh. An SC300. Probably cost him $20,000 and it has like 300,000 miles on it. And I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but it's all-wheel drive. It's a fun little feature. It's pretty sweet. I bet in the snow, this thing would just be a blast. We've been doing this whole drive in sport mode too, and it's still plenty comfortable. I have absolutely no complaints with this thing at all. Turning radius isn't great, but that's okay. I'll sacrifice that for how much fun the rest of the car is. We'll take one more look at the outside. And here we go. The Volvo V70R Wagon. What a blast it is. And I also love when I walk around in public with a GoPro on my head. The looks you get from people. But this is it. Fun car. Alright. Well, thank you guys for watching, and tune in for some hopefully more fun reviews in the future and just whatever content we can figure out.